Good morning, everyone. This is the longest running radio show in Florida and also the most pro Donald Trump radio show anywhere. So if you love Trump, subscribe. You'll love the show. If you don't love Trump, subscribe. You'll love the show and maybe you'll start to love Trump, right? It's possible. Stranger things have happened. Let me move. There we go.
A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses
Hey,
of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA 3782. 1-855
Hey, Anthony, good morning.
3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show.
All right. Yes. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. 4 minutes after 6 o'clock in the morning. It's Thursday, the 16th day of July, 2020. Welcome. So much happening, so much going on. Very good news to report this morning. President Trump is fired. I know they're not saying fired. They're saying demoted. They have President Trump has made the very wise decision to fire his campaign manager, Brad I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name. Is it Parscale? Very strange name. And after, he demoted. They say demoted. It's better to demote him and move him back to the social media stuff than actually having him go free range and out there to be on talk shows all day. So they still have him on the payroll, but he's been fired as the campaign manager. And he took on a job he was not qualified to do, and after the disaster that was Tulsa, oh my goodness, the disaster that was the Tulsa rally that was sabotaged by the left, Donald Trump did what he's most famous for. You're fired. And he replaced him with his deputy campaign manager. I hope that guy knows what he's doing because, out at the Tulsa rally, there was so much that went wrong with the saboteurs. Remember this story that has just evaporated about the Tulsa rally. The person from the company that owned the, or not owned the arena, but the person that was in charge of the arena, the management company that runs the joint, sent home the temperature checkers early. And before people could get to the Secret Service security screen, they first had to have their temperature checked. Well, when he sent home the temperature screeners, there was no one could move beyond that point. There were other things too, but that just gives you an idea of how down and dirty these Democrats are. And they sabotaged the Tulsa rally, and Brad screwed it up. He just was not qualified for that. He's very good, I guess, with the internet stuff, and he'll continue to do well there. But you got to be able to handle these things on the ground. And I saw someone after the Tulsa rally. Was it Giuliani? I can't remember. Giuliani pops in my mind, but it may not have been Giuliani. But somebody up top talked about how it could have even been Karl Rove, who I can't stand Karl Rove with his stupid white. That whiteboard of Karl Rove has become like his identity. So he's always got the stupid whiteboard. He probably travels around town, goes out to dinner with the whiteboard. But anyway, it was either Karl Rove or Rudy Giuliani that said that Brad Parscale had made over $30 million off the campaign. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was, I know who said it. It was, I forgot the guy's name. The guy that's on Fox all the time that was the campaign manager for President Reagan's re-election. He looks like Mike from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Do you know who I'm talking about? I can't remember his name. He's the one who said it, that Brad had made over $30 million off the campaign. That was, by the way, personally. And, so I'm glad he's gone. and we can get back to people that know what it is they're doing. And I knew when he named him as the campaign manager, he wouldn't make it to the election. Very few of these people do. Hopefully things turn out better for him than they did Manafort. Oh my goodness. Do you you deliver Trump a victory, they put you in prison for getting him elected. But I'm so glad he's gone. That was very exciting for me to hear, because he was a disaster, and I'm sure he's good at these other things. He knows more than I know. We made $30 million off the campaign already, all right? So he knows something, but not enough. So he's gone, and things will get back on track. Don't you worry. Well, listen, lots of things happening. Again, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. Our number, toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. This is a very strange story. If anyone has any info, I'm going to read a story to you about this. Very strange, and everything is very vague about it. If anyone knows anything else that you've heard online about it, I would certainly love you to tell me about this. This is Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough. Mika Brzezinski and Scarborough, for those that don't know, are married. Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski took to Twitter Wednesday to explain why her husband and co-host Joe Scarborough has been absent from their MSNBC morning show for the last several days. A word on my husband, she wrote in a series of tweets. Yes, Joe, and she spelled Joe with all capital letters, J-O-E, is taking a week off. He may jump in, he may not. The reason? I told him to. When he's not by my side in the morning, I feel the void and realize his value all over again. For 13 years, Joe has been analyzing, advocating, like no one can. Nobody comes close. This is rarely recognized, by the way. Maybe it's because he makes it look so easy. This is Mika talking about her husband. The show has become a vital part of the political landscape. Joe created the platform, pitched it to Phil Griffin, chose the players, and set up a go-to place for politics. Brzezinski praised the former GOP representative's dedication to the show and his role. Joe's job is like juggling precious china and fire sticks. He puts himself out there because he loves politics. He loves his country. Joe has a quick... don't let the left hear you say you love your country, Scarborough. Joe has a quick intellect and passion for American history. It all makes him remarkably effective at speaking the ultimate truth to power, Mika wrote. In recent months, Scarborough used his platform to hammer the Republican Party for its coronavirus response. He and Mika married in 2018, blah, 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 blah. Who takes a break without their wife? Isn't this very strange? If they were not married, this wouldn't be any big deal. It'd be vacation. Everybody deserves a vacation. I need a vacation. Oh my gosh, do I need a vacation? I'm pretty wiped out. But the show must go on. So he's taking a break. Here's the thing, okay? They're married and live together here in Florida, actually. So they're married and live together. If you were married to your coworker that your full-time job is all about, it's first thing in the morning, your wife isn't taking off, you're taking off, she still has to get up and go to work in the morning. So what happens? She wakes you up, right? So you're up already. So it seems a little strange, and it is a mystery. Any speculation, if you have any speculation on this, why is Joe Scarborough taking a break, and we don't know how long it is going to be, without his wife, who's his co-host, who's not taking a break, and she's continuing to host the show without him? That is one of the strangest things. Now, I co-host my podcast with my wife, Kathy. And sometimes my wife is ill because of her health condition or has been hospitalized. And I'll do the show alone, or we'll miss a couple of days. My wife has actually done the show from the hospital on more than one occasion in her hospital bed. I had her on the phone. You know, because we're married. I mean, everything when as a married couple, everything we do together. You know, it just seems strange to take a vague break without the wife, with very little details. I don't know. So anyway, if anybody knows anything more than what I shared or has any speculation on it, that's certainly welcome. And, okay, your thoughts also on Trump firing. Oh, man, great news. Firing his campaign manager. We got a lot more to get into as well. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. All right, let's go to the phones. First call of the day. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, Buck, how are you, Brian?
All right. Who takes a break without their wife that they work with? Strange.
Someone who's sick and they don't want to tell anyone.
Really? Sick?
COVID, maybe, possibly.
I don't know. That's a leap. It can be anything.
Well, yeah, it's strange. Why would he even? I don't know.
Yeah.
Quirky.
It's really weird.
They're a quirky couple, so who knows? I mean, I don't know.
You know, there are things I do without my wife. Like, when we go on our listener cruises, my wife can't travel like that. She can't travel outside the... So people know my wife can't travel out of the country, or my wife's in the hospital for a few days or something like this. I don't have some vague thing. She's doing what she does, and she loves it, and this and that, and don't tell you why. It's strange.
They're quirky. They're like,
Happy birthday,
like a very
Lisa.
nice couple.
Yeah, very, very...
I DM'd you last night on the Brad Parscale thing. I'm glad he got demoted because
Fired.
He really got a number on the Tulsa rally. Yeah, it's one thing to know how to get votes, do all the campaign pamphlets and on the internet and on Facebook and social media. It's another thing to manage. But apparently he does not know how to manage because if it wasn't for the 20 million viewers, that could have been a lot worse than what it turned out.
Well, what happened, see, he at the Tulsa rally, there was a major left-wing operation to sabotage it. And it was a very sophisticated operation, and he had no idea that it was happening, didn't know what was going on. The president, and there was a story that the president just laid in and went off right before he came out on stage on his staff, and Brad wasn't there. He was off hiding somewhere, and Brad didn't know what was going on. And it was just total incompetence.
Then more of an aggressive attack on a guy that actually knows.
Well, here's the thing. From what they say, he's very good at the online business and the social media and all that. That's great. That's where he needs to be. One of the problems, Hillary Clinton in 2016 had a lot of problems. Half the country just hate her because she's and all this stuff. Hillary Clinton would have been president of the United States if well, yeah, right. I don't think so. Oh, gross. But if Hillary Clinton had left her husband and divorced him for all of his screwing around, she probably would have become president. But anyway, not in 2016, probably back in 2008. But anyway, one of the problems Hillary Clinton had in her campaign is she had all these people from her husband's campaign and circle on her campaign, and they didn't know what they were doing because they were campaigning like they were out of date. They were campaigning like it was 92 before the internet and all this stuff. And yeah, exactly, the scanner at the grocery store. And Brad Parscale, he doesn't know how to run he's just doesn't know how to run a campaign.
Guy of canvassing, I listened to him and all the things he was doing on the internet, but when it came to actually physically running the show.
Well, he should have. I think if you had a real professional campaign manager in Tulsa, that liberal operation would not have been successful. The guy sending home the temperature screeners, Brad Parscale didn't even know that happened until it was in the Gateway Pundit 3 days later.
He's the actual CEO of that entertainment company.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he went on Twitter like an hour before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He said he's going to do these things, and he did them, and it was too late, and the show went on.
I don't know. Maybe Trump should pardon Manafort, get him out of jail, and put him in charge of the campaign again. He did well the last time. Oh, wouldn't that cause a meltdown? The left would have a meltdown.
He should. Yeah, I got one better. He should put Roger Stone in charge.
I don't know if I'd put him in charge of it, but I would like to see Roger Stone on TV with Jeffrey Lord more. All right, Mike, I got to run for a break, but thanks for the call. 18 minutes after the hour, we'll take our first break of the day. It's Thursday. You are listening to the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida, The Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian. We'll break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beat. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175
They screwed up my coffee.
At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire.
They
Tires
screwed
for my
up
Dollar
my
General's car,
coffee.
$135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some.
Yeah, my wife got
about
me an
why I
espresso
chose
machine at
the
home, which
Gardens
is
of
pretty
Boca
good.
Raton
Anybody have an
to be my
espresso
final
machine?
resting place.
Nespresso?
I've always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my
This pisses me off.
apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The Gardens had caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton, dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Oh, man. The day is starting off so wrong. You have no idea. I went to, they messed up my coffee order at Starbucks. They gave me the right coffee, but they didn't mix it right. I asked for half and half in my coffee. They gave it to me black. Oh, my goodness. It just doesn't, Well, I'm going to have to drink it black, even though I want half and half of my coffee. Damn you, Starbucks. How dare you? The way it works, if my coffee is messed up in the morning, it messes up the whole day because I've got a morning routine, and it screws up my morning routine. Oh, man. Welcome back, everyone. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. There was a great moment on MSDNC, as the president calls it, MSNBC. I want to drink the coffee. I don't care that they screwed up my coffee. It was $3 for this cup of coffee, and I'm going to drink it. So, Oh, man. Oh, before I get to this thing on MSNBC, I'll just throw this out before Steve joins us, because, I was watching on YouTube last night an old Filmation live-action television show from the 1970s that I used to watch as a kid. Remember Filmation? They did a lot of cartoons, and they did some live-action shows on Saturday morning TV in the 70s. And there was one called Arc 2. Does anyone remember this show, Arc 2? Not a lot of people remember this show. If you saw it, if you're my age, around about, you probably would remember it. You can look it up on YouTube. And I have not seen Arc 2 since I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I'll just give you the premise real quick, because it does relate to what's going on. And you guys remember these Filmation shows like Space Academy and Jason from Star Command? Does anyone remember any of these? What did you guys do on Saturday mornings in the 70s? Let me tell you about this, and I'll tell you how it relates to what's going on today. Arc 2 was a group of young people that had this. It took place in the 25th century, and they had this souped-up SUV, and they were traveling the Earth after the devastation from pollution in the 20th and 21st century that made the Earth uninhabitable, and the beginning, and the Earth is just in complete chaos, and it's very, very medieval, except for them, this team of scientists, and the whole show is about how pollution was going to make the Earth's civilization collapse. And, I started thinking, and they were showing all, in the beginning credits, they show all these things, and of course the scientist, no one listened to the scientist, and then the pollution destroyed the Earth. And it goes back, scientists always have a racket going on, don't they? Back then it was pollution, it was acid rain, and the hole in the ozone layer. What happened to those things? Were the scientists all wrong? What happened to that hole in the ozone layer? Now, of course, it's climate change. Remember, Biden said the other day, when I say climate change, I say jobs, jobs, jobs. So that scientists are telling us something different now than they told. Did we solve the hole in the ozone? Did we stop? How did we stop the acid rain? Scientists always have a racket. And, because most scientists are sellouts, and they come up with these rackets to get funding. And there was even an episode of Different Strokes on acid rain. Does anyone remember this? The acid rain episode of Different Strokes. Dana Plato, who had a very tragic life, right, in adulthood. Dana Plato washed her hair with rainwater, and she woke up in the morning and her hair turned green because she used rainwater to wash her hair with, and it was a whole episode about acid rain. And I used to hear these stories all the time, like on the show Arc 2, about how the hole in the ozone layer was going to make us all be radiated on Earth. And the hole in the ozone layer was caused by what? Aerosol cans, Lysol, hairspray. Now, they solved some of that because hairspray's out, but I just spray every morning. I spray the whole studio here with Lysol. What happened? Do they not cause holes in the air? What happened with the ozone layer, by the way? They found out that lightning makes ozone, and there's always been holes in the ozone layer that are patched up by lightning, and that's part of the purpose of thunderstorms. But it's every decade the scientists have another scam. Lost in Space. There's a new Lost in Space series on Netflix, which is not very good. I didn't watch the second season. But anyway, Lost in Space, the new Lost in Space, they've left the Earth to colonize the galaxy because the Earth can no longer support life because, that's right, climate change. That's the new premise in the new Lost in Space. In the future, we have made it impossible for life to be sustained on Earth because of climate change. Back in the 90s, they did a movie version of Lost in Space with Joey from Friends and, was it William Hurt? I forget who else was in that movie. Mia Rogers? I can't remember who else was in that movie. But so now the new Lost in Space, the 2019, 2018, 2020 Lost in Space, climate change destroyed the Earth. So they have to leave the Earth, right? That's what Lost in Space is about now. In the movie version of Lost in Space, the movie version in the early 90s with Joey from Friends, do you know why they left the Earth then? Pollution. And there's actually a scene in the beginning where Joey from Friends, Major West, is talking to William Hurt. Is it William Hurt that plays Mr. Robinson? I forgot his first name. And he says, the recycling technology came too late, and the pollution is making the Earth incapable of supporting life. So it was pollution in the 90s, climate change now. I don't know what the original one was all about. So, all this talk with Fauci and vaccines and all of these different things with coronavirus and COVID, scientists, to me, seem to be more wrong than right. At least the ones that we hear about in the news that change the tone of the country. Every decade has a new theme that is promoted to us by scientists. Okay? Acid rain, ozone, pollution, littering. Now it's climate change and the pandemic. I don't know what it'll be in the 2030s, but that's just how it is. It's the cycle of life. And as you grow older and you live in different decades, you see this. And when I was watching this old show, Arc 2, which I loved as a kid, and it's not that great. I watched a couple episodes. They're 22 minutes each. It's nostalgic, And they're talking about how littering caused the Earth to no longer be able to sustain life. Come on. And then I was watching, last night, I was watching a new show with what's the guy's name that hosts The Amazing Race? The host of The Amazing Race has a new show called Tough as Nails. Anybody watch this show, Tough as Nail? You guys all watching Fox News all the time. I know. I got to take a break from the news in the evening. I can't go to bed at night if I got the news on because it's so upsetting. It just is. It is. You get your blood pressure up. It makes you worried. So anyway, I'm watching this show. The guy from Amazing Race's new show, Phil, I forgot his last name. And it's called Tough as Nails, and it's about people that have blue-collar jobs compete in these strongman competitions. And one of them is they had to shovel coal onto this scale, and they had each person, to make it right, who could shovel the coal the fastest, and the amount of coal they had to shovel onto this scale was 3 times their body weight. So whatever the body weight was times 3, they had to shovel this coal. And I was very surprised because this is liberal CBS that just fired Nick Cannon, and they're showing coal, and they're talking about coal, and I was very surprised. I haven't seen coal on television in a positive light, and they were talking about. I was shocked. They were talking about in America where we have an endless supply of energy with coal. This was CBS. I'm like, aren't they listening to Biden? But coal is that Biden is fighting against is a natural resource. It comes from the ground. The earth makes it. That's why it's there. So I don't know why they got this beef with coal. But anyway, I don't trust scientists. I really don't listen to scientists. Scientists are, they're scammers because, what scientists want to do is get government grants and get government money so they can continue their ridiculous, absurd research. And to get the funding, you have to be with what is in vogue in that particular time. There are many scientists who will tell you that climate change is not true, that there's a natural cycle of the earth, but there's no climate change, as we're being told, caused by human activity. They don't get funding, okay? To get funding, to get the research grants, you've got to, before you do any experimentation, you've got to determine that climate change is real, it's caused by men, and it must be stopped, or you don't get the grant money. Every decade is that way. And now we're going to see a lot of this in medical science because of coronavirus. And, you see how people are angry at Fauci. Fauci is like the big villain right now. And, it's amazing to me how liberals always listen to what, if somebody has a PhD, right? Or in Fauci's case, I guess he's an MD, or they just have the title doctor before their name, regardless of what it's a doctorate of or who they are with their background. Liberals just listen and do whatever they're told by anyone who's a doctor. They don't want to hear any other opinion. They don't want to hear any second opinions. And if you question it, well, you're denying science. And conservatives are always questioning science. And it's so interesting because the left believe, they'll tell you that they're the intelligentsia. They're the intellectuals. If they were truly the intellectuals, they would question it. And science should be able to hold up to questioning. Oh boy. So the real intelligentsia, the intellectual group in this country, of course, are the conservatives. Those are the true thinkers and intellectuals, not the left. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take a break. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977. That's right. All right, let's take that break, okay? We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Do you suffer from foot pain that just won't go away? Do you have balance issues, and are you
Steve
afraid
Kane
of
Show.
falling? Are you in need of orthotics? Are you a diabetic and in need of diabetic shoes and custom inserts? These are just a few reasons why you would call the Soul Authority today. Whether it's in the comfort of your own home or coming to the office at one of our 2 convenient locations in Pembroke Pines or Tamarack, the Soul Authority can take care of all of your podiatric
Yeah, they
needs.
think we're
If you're a
stupid,
Medicare
but they're the
recipient,
ones
call
that
us
are
today
stupid.
at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. And you can also find us online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Call the Soul Authority today and start taking care of your feet.
President Trump here. Join Steve Kane and Brian Craig on the Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise on board the Celebrity Edge. The cruise will be to celebrate my re-election. Don't be a loser, be a winner, just like me. And join Steve Kane and Brian Craig on the Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Join Steve Kane and me, Brian Craig, celebrating the victory of President Trump as we sail December 6th out of Fort Lauderdale.
Nobody else
on the
remembers
7-day Trump 2020 Victory Cruise.
Art
First
2?
stop, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Second stop, Tortola, British Virgin Islands. And then St. Martin. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And join us celebrating the re-election of President Trump. 561-244-5779.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group.
And notice they always are selling it to kids,
South Florida, from
right?
Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show, 35 minutes after the hour. You know, and if you notice, you know, all these examples of the left-wing science agenda from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. Sounds like some oldies radio station, right? Notice how they're always trying to sell their science to children, right? Different Strokes, Lost in Space. They're always trying to sell it to kids. If it's true, why do they have to sell it? And why are they targeting our children? All right, let's go to the phone. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Well, first off, this is Mike.
Yes.
You know, you're absolutely right. I mean, think about this. Captain Planet came out of the mind of, I believe came out of the mind of Ted Turner. Cartoon about, again,
Or what about Bill Nye, the liberal science guy, who's not even a scientist? He's an actor.
you know.
Now, let me ask you, though, do you have any theories? Mika Brzezinski says her husband and co-host Joe Scarborough's taking a break, but she's continuing to work. What do you know what's going on with Joe Scarborough? Taking a vacation or something without the wife? Very strange. Is that strange to you?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know. I mean, I've heard of people doing that. Couples taking separate vacations, but a famous couple like this doing that. I mean, I'm not famous, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's very weird. Very strange. They should give more specifics because people are going to speculate. I'm not speculating. I could speculate and come up with all kinds of possibilities, But, someone said Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard World, he wasn't political. His science was just factual science kit experiment type things. He wasn't pushing an agenda, Mr. Wizard's World, like Bill Nye. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it seems very odd.
I mean, I don't want to say it's odd the way what's happening with Tucker Carlson right now. Oh, I'm going on vacation right now.
Yeah, trout fishing. I don't believe. Fox News's racket is when somebody's up against it, they always go on vacation. Remember Judge Jeanine?
And wasn't Laura and Dr.
Laura Ingraham, they send them all on. They all go on vacations that are planned long ago. The Fox News trout fishing tour.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we could have probably seen this coming once the boys took.
Yeah.
I mean, they ended up getting rid of O'Reilly.
Yeah.
They're always looking to get rid of these people, Laura and Judge Jeanine,
Yeah.
Felt like if they felt like they could get rid of Hannity, they would,
Oh, they've tried. If you remember about a year or so ago, they were trying to float some idea that he was cheating on his wife, and that fizzled out. And interestingly enough, while they were kind of looking into him to see if he was having an affair, they never found out that he was already divorced from his wife. He's been divorced from his wife for several years. I just found this out a few weeks ago, and the left, they never found that out when they were trying to label him an adulterer.
They don't do their jobs. They don't get all the facts. That's the problem with the media nowadays. If they would have done that, they would have said, "Oh, okay, this guy's."
Oh yeah, a good friend of mine and a good friend of my wife was a victim of fake news this week. Was in the Daily Mail and was on Inside Edition last night, and a lot of you guys, it's not a political story, but let me tell you what happened here real quick. Then I'll take the break and get back into the politics. A friend of ours is a Disney vlogger, and she goes to Walt Disney World pretty much every day of the week, and she live streams on YouTube her time at Walt Disney World. And she makes money doing this. Her husband is retired Army, and she loves Disney World, and she traveled all over the world with her husband, when he was in the service. And when he retired, they moved to Orlando because she wanted to be able to go to Disney World, and they live like 2 miles from Walt Disney World. She goes there every day and live streams on YouTube. And Disney World just reopened, right, this last week. Listen to this. She goes to Disney World. She live streams on YouTube like I'm live streaming right now. She went to, she was at her, if you guys want to look up her channel on YouTube, it's called That Crazy Disney Lady. That Crazy Disney Lady. So listen to what happens. She's at Walt Disney World eating dessert with her friend on Saturday, and her friend eats something and has an allergic reaction. Her friend is allergic to nuts, and there were nuts in the dessert that she ate, and she had an allergic reaction. And this is on the YouTube live stream. And, when you have an allergic reaction like that, your throat closes up and you have that reaction. They take her to first aid. This is all on YouTube Live. She's live streaming this. And then she went and she got over it. I don't know. She took a Benadryl or so. I don't know. And that was it. It was over. And they have nurses that actually work at first aid stations at Walt Disney World, or registered nurses. And they checked her out. They took care of her food allergy, sent her on her way back to the park. It was all live streamed. Some people on Twitter took a clip of her 10-hour live stream, the part when she was talking about having throat problems, just took this clip, put it on Twitter, and said that they both had coronavirus and were walking through Walt Disney World coughing with sore throats with coronavirus symptoms, touching everything, and exposing everyone at Walt Disney World. And they put this on Twitter. The video got 1 million views in a 24-hour period. This was just over the weekend. Next thing you know, it's in the Daily Mail, it's here, it's there, it's in all these news, and she's a good friend of mine, a good friend of my wife, you know, we've socialized together and stuff, our families, and it's being reported all over you can look this up, by the way, on Twitter and online. That crazy Disney lady, her name's Tanya, a good friend of ours. And there's all these news stories all over the world, including the Daily Mail, the most read English language newspaper in the world, which I read every day. And all of these news stories just plagiarize one another, never called her, never set the record straight, took the word of people from Twitter, you know, as a source of information, and put this woman through it. She was getting death threats from people because they put her name out there and said that she was going through Walt Disney World exposing people to coronavirus all week. Now, she went on Inside Edition last night and set the record straight. But it's amazing how this fake news cycle operates and what low standards media outlets have now.
And think about this. And here's another thing. The whole thing in Florida about these testing areas having 100% positives.
Well, what happened with that, this is a little different. I'm going to get into this a little later, okay? But I'll tell you what this is. This thing in Orlando, this involves the local health departments. It's not testing like you would, like what we're talking about all the time when it comes to testing. These were the people that were collecting the data for the health department. And they moved the decimal point. And as opposed to 9.4, it was 94%. They were cooking the books. You know, one thing I learned yesterday, that when someone tests, by the way, I've been tested 3 times at any lab test now of Boca, where they have the lowest price on COVID coronavirus testing in South Florida, negative all 3 times. Well, I had 2 coronavirus tests. Those were negative, and the antibody test. Negative. But I found out how they're another way they're cooking the books. When someone tests positive for coronavirus, they get tested multiple times to see if they have it still. And sometimes you'll hear, oh yeah, they're still testing positive. Every time they get tested, it counts as another positive. So yeah, so if you get tested, and when people are hospitalized, they test them every day. If they're in there 10 days, that's 10 positives, not 1.
And I have a friend I have a nurse friend that has done this, that she's taken
None.
Just brand new Q-tips, things that you would, stick up your nose, to get the.
Oh my goodness! I don't put anything in my nose. And there was nothing on. Oh my goodness, that's a shock. All right, hey, listen, I got to run, Mike, but appreciate the call. Speaking of which, any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs, they great on the spot, immediate results. You get your results in 15 minutes. They also have the antibody test, and also if you're traveling out of the country and you have to have testing for that, they have all the specialized testing that you need for that as well. I've been tested for COVID 3 times over at any lab test now of Boca. Steve and his son went with me. the last time. We were all negative, which is good. You get the results in 15 minutes, just a little finger test. Not the thing up the nose, they stick it back to the eye, just a little finger test. You get the results in 15 minutes. It's absolutely amazing. And now I'm talking a lot to people that are being told they can't return to work unless they have a coronavirus test. You can get the test right on your way to work. Take the results with you. Show your employer. And again, any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca, they have the lowest price on coronavirus testing in South Florida. Any lab test now of Coral Springs, they're on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood over by the Coral Square Mall. And their number, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road, north of Hillsborough, and their number, 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. All right, we'll finish up the break and be right back. Don't go anywhere. Dr. Matez, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. You and I talk about cognition all the time when I call in. We have so many different options to try to help people with their cognition here. I will repeat what I say all the time. This is called age management, folks. It's not just, hey, come in, get some hormones and feel better. We have options. Hormones, by the way, is one of the greatest ways to get your cognition back, get your hormones back. We have other options. One of the biggest things going on these days is peptide therapy. These are actually FDA-approved therapies that are designed to help you regain your cognition. We have vitamins, intravenous vitamin therapies that are designed. All of these things, by the way, are absolutely 100% natural. This is exactly how the body is designed to have cognition. And Mr. Biden could avail himself of all of these things. Anybody out there, particularly if you identify with Joe Biden's problems here, a lot of us can. Come and talk to us. We can fix your cognition. It's pretty cool.
You know, I'll tell you, Dr. Mitch Matez, a lot of people assume with aging, oh, well, these things are going to happen. I'm going to lose my sex drive. I'm going to lose my hair. I'm going to want to sleep in the middle of the day. I'm not going to have energy. I'm not going to be able to remember, forgetting things. That's just part of aging. Well, these things are true, but you can do something about it with hormone replacement pellet therapy. And hormone replacement pellet therapy is a totally 100% natural process, right? These are natural hormones that your body makes naturally.
That is correct. Everything I'm talking about is natural. The peptides are proteins that are in your body that are specifically designed to improve the health of your cells. You know, by manipulating these things, we can help people get energy. We can help them lose body fat, increase their lean muscle mass, improve the health of their arteries, fix their fatty livers. You know, there's a whole lot of things that can be done. It's all safe. It's all effective. It's all pretty easy. But you have to come and see us if you want to get it done.
Well, that's the first step. And the consultation with Dr. Mitch Matez, if you mention the Steve Kane Show, is totally free. So call his office, mention the Steve Kane Show, avail yourself of the no-charge consultation with Dr. Mitch Matez, 561-953-5490, 561-953-5490, online, hormonetherapy.bocaratone.com. All right, Dr. Matez, we will talk later in the week.
Yes, we will. Have a great day, Brian. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
Oh, man. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. Oh, man, Florida's longest-running radio show. Who's your least favorite person on MSNBC? I know a lot of you don't watch MSNBC. I do not watch it either. Okay, I do watch CNN. Okay, but I can't stand anyone on MSNBC. I can't watch it. So anytime I play a clip from MSNBC, I did not watch it live, typically. Sometimes, but rarely. I heard about it or saw someone talking about it online and went and sought it out. Because I think that they have the most unlikable people on MSNBC. And to be a personality, you have to be likable, don't you? Who is your least favorite MSNBC personality? There was a very great moment on MSNBC yesterday, which we'll get to in just a bit, involving two of my least favorite MSNBC personalities. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's your favorite caller?
Coral Springs. Al from Coral Springs. Hey, Al.
I'm glad you all started off the day with science. Good break from all the political nonsense. Since we're on the topic of science, I'd like to bring up what mass deniers
talk about their, violation of constitutional rights. Do you know that Article 1,
Ugh.
Section 8 of the Constitution protects science? The Founding Fathers were so intelligent and so far advanced thinking that they actually protected science and the progress of science.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Where's that at? What's it say? What's it say? What's it say? Can you quote it to me? What's the Constitution say about science?
They need to really waive the Constitution. And here's another thing.
No, not another thing. Slow down. The Constitution protects science? What does it say and where about the protection of science in the Constitution?
Bill Nye, the science guy, I thought it was like a...
No, not Bill Nye. You said the Constitution protects scientists. And science, can you cite that? I've not heard this. I'll look it up right now. I'll Google it if you tell me. Well, give it to me and I'll look it up right now and read it on the air. I've got my iPad in my hand.
Sir, I always give you information that you've never heard of.
Well, tell me where I can look it up. I'll read the part of the Constitution that protects scientists. Wait. So you're moving on from that? You can't. You said the Constitution. You said Constitution protects science. You won't tell me where. So now you're going to talk about Bill Nye, the science guy? Yeah. Okay, paragraph 8. And what does it say about science? Let me look it up. I'm not finding what you're telling me here. No. Paragraph 8 of what section? Paragraph 8 of what section of the Constitution? What section? There's lots of paragraphs. What section? Science. Oh, so you don't know. You want me to do your research. Science in the Constitution. Okay, well, let's look it up. Science. Okay, it says here. Okay, no, I'm going to read it. I've not read this. I'm not familiar with it. So, well, maybe you're right. Okay, Article 1. I just Googled this, and this is what came up. And he hung up. He hung up, people. He hung up. Says here, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution grants Congress the power to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to the respective writings and discoveries. That sounds like copyright and trademark law. That doesn't sound like we hand over our government to scientists. Now I know why he hung up. Oh my goodness. He hung up. Yeah, it's copyright law. Yeah, so there's copyright protections, trademark protections. Okay. What does that... Don't you love the liberals? That's what they've got. That's what they've got. Oh my goodness. I love the internet. You know, doing a radio talk show before the internet was a whole nother thing. Because before the internet, there were a lot more liberal callers to talk radio shows before the internet was so easily accessible. Because before the internet, they could say everything. You couldn't refute it unless you happened to know, you know. And I mean, if I had a pocket copy of the Constitution back in the day, I guess I could open it up. But now you can Google, like, remember he called in last week about something with John Wayne? I looked up the quote, he was wrong. In the old days, callers could say anything, and you had to deal with it. You couldn't, you know, refute it. So there's copyright and trademark protections to scientists and musicians and authors and artists. Okay. What does that mean? Does that mean hand over the government to Fauci? Oh, my goodness. I tell you, liberals. Liberals. It's really amazing. 2020 is probably, in my lifetime, at least certainly my adult lifetime, and in most of your adult lifetime too, the most important year, 2020. Not because the election. Everybody always says this election is the most important election in our lifetime, and they all are important. Okay? Some more important than others, I'm sure, but, and this one's certainly important. But 2020 is the most significant year in my adult lifetime because of what's happened this year. There has been such a surrender of personal liberty guaranteed to us by the Constitution. Just a complete surrender. Our freedom of assembly taken away. Our freedom of worship taken away. And yeah, I know. And it's pretty scary what's going on. Now there was a meltdown on MSNBC yesterday, which was beautiful. I'm going to play it for you after the top of the hour because I only have like 2 minutes left until the top of the hour break, and I don't want to do it now. So I'll do it after the top of the hour break. You won't want to miss this one. But the year 2020, when people were put under the country was basically put under house arrest. Business owners shut down. Were being ordered to wear clothing that without passing, and by the way, all this was done without passing any laws. We're being told what clothing to wear. And by clothing, I mean the mask, right? A mask is clothing. It's a cover, a face covering is a form of clothing these days. We're being told what we've got to wear on our face. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy town, really, if you think about it. And all of this has happened. The biggest loss of liberty in American history, all at once, and without one law being passed. It just happened. And look at the liberals. They don't want us to have our freedom back. They don't want the country to move on and reopen and all of these things. And it's pretty scary. And we've the millennial snowflake generation. They're fine with it. They don't see they've been brainwashed so much they don't understand. People have been told they can't work. They can't earn a living. They can't open their business. They can't send their kids to school. I saw today Palm Beach County Schools. The school board voted to open up the school year for the distance learning. I found out yesterday, I did not know this, I found out yesterday afternoon that it is very difficult for children to pass on coronavirus. Doctors are saying that it's something with the immune system of children makes it very difficult for them to pass it on to family members. I did not know this. This was, the schools definitely should be reopened. I mean, there's no question about it. Schools should be reopened. They need to be reopened. We got to get the economy going. In the past, when, President Trump is so amazing, and we're so blessed to have him as our president. With the entire country being put under house arrest and lockdown for about 3 months, huge sectors of the economy are still shut down. And Democrat governors, like the governor of California, have shut down entire states. Democrat school boards are shutting down schools. Democrat county commissions and city commissions and mayors are shutting down cities and Republican states. And still, the economy is going like gangbusters. It's amazing. And why is that? It's Trump. And, everyone talks about polls. They got a bunch of phony polls with Biden ahead. The economy, the markets, are all futures markets. All markets, whatever it is. All financial markets are futures markets. And the reason the markets are doing so, I'm not talking about today or tomorrow, I'm talking about overall. The financial markets are doing well because the markets believe, and these are the big shot Gordon Geckos, that know everything. The market believes that President Trump is going to be reelected. And the economy is doing well because they project him, Mr. Monopoly. If they made Monopoly today, it would be Donald Trump, would be Mr. Monopoly, will be president next year for the next 4 years. And the outlook on the American economy is looking good because Trump is going to be reelected. So all this talk about this poll and that poll and this poll and this state and this battleground, it's all lies. The economic indicators, that's a major poll, and it shows President Trump being reelected. All right, it's actually 2 minutes after 7 in the morning. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Does your life insurance policy only pay someone if you die? The new life insurance policies allow you to access your benefits even while you are still alive. Due to changes in the insurance industry, all life insurance carriers in 2020 have adjusted their premiums to your advantage. Life insurance rates have been lowered due to the updated mortality tables. People are living longer in America, and that means life insurance premiums are lower. Call Debbie and Dan at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080 to learn more and for a free review of your existing life insurance policy. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
We are chatting today with Frank,
thank you.
owner of two magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. How many years have you owned this business?
I've been in the hardware business for over 40 years, Steve.
If I have a home project that I'm doing, there are so many around the house, that's the big thing today. What's the difference of my experience if I go to Ace Hardware as opposed to these major impersonal chain stores?
We just can't say something. I mean, I wish he wouldn't have hung up, but he knew what was coming.
Hardware store. We have experienced people that are working in our stores. Our employees are just top notch. They're very experienced. They know their business. When you're doing a project, you can come into the store and you can get somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that will like to work with you. They'll find you the right project, the right pieces, the first
He still has a
time, so
map.
you can get in and out with the right material.
It's black and white in the middle of the
Ace
East
Hardware
Future
stores, but there are only two that are
Oh.
advertising with the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal, and of course the Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A
Hey, guys.
in Lauderdale
Good morning.
by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law
Oh, by the way, I
Group.
saw a
Veterans
super
and
chat come
spouses
through
of veterans.
earlier,
You may
and
be
I
entitled
want to
to
thank
benefits
you.
you
I'll
are
look
not
back and see
aware
what it was in a bit.
including long-term care
But
benefits.
to who
Call
sent the
attorney
super
Barry
chat,
Siegel
thanks,
at the
appreciate
Siegel
it.
Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855.
I'll scroll back and see who sent it.
3782 1-855.
I can't think super chats while I'm on the radio.
3782.
It sounds like, kind of weird, like I'm doing a telethon,
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE-1. And now, here's Steve
Yeah,
Kane.
call in one. You're welcome. All right, welcome everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. 5 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Oh man, I was asking in the last hour, who is your least favorite MSNBC personality? And that's a really difficult one. I know the knee-jerk one is Rachel Maddow. But my least favorite is Chuck Todd. Yeah, he's my least favorite. But anyway, there was a happening on MSNBC last night with Chuck Todd, Katie Tour, and Tim Murtaugh. Now, Tim Murtaugh, he's the campaign communications director for Trump 2020. And this exchange, what Chuck Todd ended this exchange with is insane. So Murtaugh, the Trump 2020 communications director, he's on being interviewed by Katie Tour. Chuck Todd's sitting there, not saying too much. And, let me just play it. It speaks for itself. We'll talk about it. This is more than a clip. It's long. But I had an edited version that was just like a few seconds long. And I'm like, this whole thing is so good. We got to go through this. So Murtaugh, Tim Murtaugh, he's Trump's guy. He's there with Katie Tour and Chuck Todd, MSNBC. This is yesterday.
Oklahoma has now contracted COVID-19. He was not wearing a mask.
See, now, this is a big narrative of the left. They've got a good racket with this, and they've had some success so far. They're trying to shut down the Trump rallies and talking about all these people that have tested positive after attending the Tulsa rally.
There, the Tulsa rally, not wearing a mask. He's contracted COVID-19. You're not necessarily going to require masks at your potentially outdoor event in Jacksonville. I'm confused at how you are protecting those who are coming to your events, but then acting against all of the public health guidelines, including from this administration, on how to do that.
That's actually a completely inaccurate assertion. First, our rally in Tulsa was 25 days ago. And so to associate the governor's positive test today with something that occurred 25 days ago it's not fair to connect those two events.
And isn't that something? Katie Tour didn't think of that. And Chuck Todd, he's there, and he ain't talking because he's afraid of Murtaugh. Murtaugh is kicking some butt here, and they didn't. It takes 2 to 10 days for the symptoms to show. Now, over 3 weeks later, he gets a positive. That's supposed to be from Tulsa? Come on. All right, back to it, though.
Those two events. And secondly, we did take extraordinary steps to protect the people who came to the rally in Tulsa. We gave every single attendee, everyone who entered had to pass a temperature check. We gave every attendee a mask. We provided more hand sanitizer than any large group of people could possibly ever possibly use. And there was no such organized effort to protect the safety of people who were engaged in these massive protests in city after city. No organized efforts at safety whatsoever.
See, I love Murtaugh. Trump hires the best. Every once in a while he makes a mistake like Brad Parscale and gets rid of him, but he hires the best, doesn't he? This guy, he's right on the money. So he's talking about these massive BLM protests nationwide, right? And Katie Tour, she's about to have a meltdown because he's pointing out their hypocrisy. The Trump rallies, you can't do those, but the Black Lives Matter rallies, you can have all those you want with as many people as you want all over America, and that's okay.
And I do not recall MSNBC or CNN or anybody else being concerned about the safety of people who attended those gatherings. But suddenly, when it is involving a President Trump rally, then of course, these safety measures are of a paramount. But when it's a large gathering with a political message that MSNBC would agree with, suddenly safety measures are really on the back burner.
Tim Murtaugh, that's all the time we have. Thank you.
All the time we have. And this is so interesting. Okay, now this is great stuff. So you're so irresponsible with the Trump rallies, and he points to all these liberal events that MSNBC didn't gripe about, right? And then all of a sudden they're out of time. Well, that's not really the case. And Katie Tour is trying to cut off Murtaugh because he's exposing their hypocrisy and calling them out. They've left his mic on, and now she's going to try to talk him down because she's getting all this. This is live TV, so all this truth that MSNBC doesn't want out is getting out.
Agree with. Suddenly, safety measures are really on the back burner.
Tim Murtaugh, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us. We will note the president is the only one having indoor rallies or events of that scale in the entire country. Again, the protests were outdoors. All of the doctors and health experts say that is a safer place to hold.
Oh, man, all the BLM things are outdoors. Well, if you're packed in by the thousands, it doesn't matter if you're outdoor or indoors. Okay, you might as well be indoors because there's such a sea of people.
Safer place to hold them. I attended a number of those rallies. Everybody was wearing a mask. Hand sanitizer was handed out. And we just saw the images of those rallies. People were not wearing masks.
Hear this? Hear this? How she's shouting him down because he's getting all this truth out that she doesn't want out there? Katie Tour.
Sanitizer was handed out. And we just saw the images of those rallies. People were not wearing masks inside the president's rally. There was not social distancing being practiced. We saw the signs being removed from seats. So you can say you handed out hand sanitizer and gave out masks. They weren't wearing them. And also, Dr. Fauci today has said that... Dr.
Fauci has said there's no more debate now because The oracle of all scientific medical knowledge has spoken, Dr. Fauci. I love that, right?
Out hand sanitizer and gave out masks. They weren't wearing them. And also, Dr. Fauci today has said that the incubation period for this disease could be longer than just 2 weeks. So, Tim Murtaugh, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate all of your time.
Appreciate
Chuck, over
that
to you.
speech, Katie. Thank you.
I like that. I love Murtaugh's great. I appreciate that speech, Katie. Thank you. Okay, now this part here, turn your radios up louder for this one, okay? Chuck Todd, who was afraid to utter a word because Murtaugh was kicking Katie to his butt and he didn't want to be humiliated, waited until Murtaugh was gone. So now Chuck Todd is going to make a shocking announcement about MSNBC News. Listen.
Thank you.
We will have the brand new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll unveiled today at 5 p.m.
Let me guess, Chuck Todd. The new poll will show Biden ahead, right? In all the swing states, right? But anyway, listen to what he says at the end.
We will have the brand new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll will be unveiled today at 5 p.m. on Meet the Press Daily. And just a reminder, for what it's worth, there is no editorial point of view here on any of these newscasts on MSNBC in the daytime. But
in the daytime. That's interesting, threw that in. So there's no editorial point of view during the daytime at MSNBC. That's what he said at the end. The last bit of credibility they have is out the window with that one. Oh my goodness. For him to be able to say that with a straight face into the television camera is as outrageous as Bill Clinton saying, I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Because there's no way, it's one thing to say something that you believe and be factually inaccurate. He knows damn well he's a liberal, they're liberals, they have an agenda, it's political, it's called news, but it's all, everything over there is editorial. Everything is editorial. Nothing over there makes it to the air that is not editorial. And they said during the daytime, does that include the Morning Joe show? Is that not editorial too, Chuck Todd? To say that to his audience on his own show on MSNBC, what a joke that is. That last clip's going to get a lot of play today, I imagine, in conservative circles. But come on. It's beyond just the prime time. It is all day, and that's okay. It's okay to have a point of view. But the problem is, when we talk about, I was talking about that, my friend with the fake news. When President Trump talks about fake news involves a lot of things. Okay? News means something. And what they've done is they've turned editorials into the news. It used to be, back in the olden days, there used to be editorial segments in the news. Someone would come on at the end of a newscast. Sometimes it would be a general manager or something, and they would give an editorial. And it would say, editorial, and they would give their opinion. Now, when's the last time you've seen that? The following is an editorial from the general manager of this. You don't hear that anymore because news is now, it's all The View. It's all editorial, right? It's all from a viewpoint. So part of the fake news description, they are giving a product. It's false advertisement. What it is. It's not news. It's all editorial. It's all, like, this is an editorial program. This is an opinion program. Newspapers have an opinion page. Cable news is all opinion, all of it. Very little of it is. What in the cable news can you think of that is not opinionated today? That's okay, but to call it news and to act as if there's no opinions. But, liberals typically don't believe they have opinions. You know what? Maybe I'm a little wrong about Chuck Todd. Maybe he's not knowingly lying. Maybe he is that delusional. Liberals don't think they have opinions. They just know the way it is. This is the way it is. All right, it's 17 minutes after the hour. We'll take our break. My name is Brian Craig. If you're just tuning in, so much happening, so much going on. President Trump has fired his campaign manager, which is very good news, Brad Parscale. We're trying to solve this mystery. Mika Brzezinski's husband, Joe Scarborough, is left the air for an unknown period of time without her. They haven't said why. We're trying. If anyone knows why he's off work for however long without his wife, I'd like to know. There's so much going on, so much happening. And our number, of course, toll free 1-888-GO-CANE1. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane Radio Show. Tom called in on the radio to tell us about his experience with Champagne Automotive.
Hi, this is Tom from Tamarack.
Hey, Tom from Tamarack, what's up?
I just want to tell you guys something. I spent the last 2 days trying to get brakes for my car. I was leaving the house yesterday to go try another place that had a lower price. They wanted $800 for the brakes. And that advertisement came on for Champagne. I live in Western Tamarack. I said, let me take a drive up there. Well, I was almost blown over how friendly, honest, old school these people are.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously won $800. He said, well, you need to take your power steering fluid, and Ed, the owner, put the car up in the lift, pulled the wheels. He goes, you don't need brakes. And I about fell over.
Wow. Well, tell me the end of the story. You got me hooked.
So it wasn't that your vehicle was misdiagnosed at the other place. You were dealing with a crook.
Oh, absolutely. This guy wanted to sell me everything but a washing machine. I don't want that.
Now, this is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack. They're crooks. And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca off Spanish River Boulevard, immediately west of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWE.
All right, welcome back. Steve will be joining us in just a bit. And actually, maybe make an announcement involving Steve coming up in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. You know, I just went to the Drudge Report, and here is the first one there. Oklahoma governor tests positive. We're talking about in that Katie Tour segment on MSNBC. They're trying to tell us that he has the corona because he was at the Trump rally. It was over 3 weeks ago. Come on, that's nonsense. But the second story, it says here, Miami outbreak comparable to Wuhan. And let me open up the story here. It's from the local news, CBS 4 in Miami. Other states are worried about the coronavirus straining their hospital systems. More than 8,000 people in Florida alone are now hospitalized with the virus. Dr. Jason Wilson says, if you have wave after wave after wave, how long can you sustain that? Dr. Wilson is the Associate Director of Emergency Management at Tampa General Hospital. He said the volume of COVID patients coming to the hospital is 5 times higher than it was a month and a half ago. We've really done everything we can to try to keep patients out of the hospital who don't need to be in. There are just 10 ICU beds left in all of Miami-Dade County, they say. Okay. A few things about this. There are more people coming to the hospital than a month or so ago. And you know what's missing from this article? How many have passed away from it? That's very important, isn't it? This thing about the shortage of hospitals and hospitals being crowded. Here in Florida, elective surgeries have started up again. Now, someone in my family went in for knee surgery yesterday. They're in the hospital right now. They had knee surgery yesterday that they were going to have many months ago, but had to put it off because of, everything that's been going on. Hospitals are busy in Florida, busier than other states, because elective surgeries are taking place now. That's why hospital beds are filling up. Hospitals, most of them are a business. Hospitals are built with space to service the community and be full. Hospitals are always at 80, 90% capacity. I've had incidents many years ago when my wife was first diagnosed with her illness. She was in a hospital in Broward. She had to be transferred to Jackson Memorial in Miami. We had to wait 2 days. This is, 95. We had to wait 2 days, maybe 3, but at least 2 days to get a bed at Jackson Memorial. And this was 95. Coronavirus, COVID, it exists back then, right? Hospitals are always busy. They're always near capacity. They're designed that way. Hospitals aren't meant to be empty and just have empty floors just in case there's a global pandemic. And so far as this guy here, this expert from Tampa, saying there's more people coming to the hospital now with it, people have been avoiding hospitals for months because they were afraid to go because of the pandemic. People are starting to, again, feel comfortable going to the local emergency room. Before, people were afraid to go to the emergency rooms. Emergency rooms, have you ever had to go to an emergency room and then be admitted to the hospital? They're always waiting for rooms. Over the years, I've been in the emergency room more times than the average person because of my wife's health condition. And my wife's doctor works out of Miami, and we've had to, over the years, go to the emergency room many, many times. And it has not been unusual to be in the emergency room, and they're out of beds, and have patients in the hallways of the ER. Very common. I mean, hallways lined up with patients. This is very regular, what you're seeing in hospitals, not just in Florida, but everywhere. Hospitals are, we hear from the left all the time, it's a business. You don't have empty buildings with empty rooms and empty beds. You know what the demand is in a community, and the hospitals are built to handle that demand and not be empty with people running around making TikTok videos like so many first responders were doing all this time. So the hospitals are not overrun with people. It's business as usual at the hospitals. Are you kidding me? Who decided hospitals were supposed to be empty? Have any of you been admitted to a hospital? How often have you had a private room as opposed to sharing a room with someone? Why is that? Why do they have rooms that have 2 people in them? That's right. That's how hospitals are. They're crowded. So, you know, this nonsense that's going on, that if hospitals were overrun and overcrowded, how did someone in my family get elective knee surgery yesterday? Exactly. Hospitals are busier because the elective surgeries are back, and people are now returning to the emergency room for minor things that they weren't over the past few months because they were afraid. So emergency rooms are not being overrun. ICU beds are not being overrun. This is how hospitals always are. Good morning. You're on the radio.
And I'm just glad that you can tell everybody that you used to be a Democrat, to think that you're a conservative Republican.
Yeah.
I used to be a conservative, and now I still am a conservative, but you used to be a Democrat.
Well, I'll tell you why that happened, but tell me what you, hold on, slow down. What do you mean by that? Tell me slow down. I want to have a conversation with you. I'm here till 9, Monday through Friday, okay? Don't need to rush. When you say that, you've said it twice, what point are you trying to make?
Well, I'm trying to make that you drive a pink car to Disneyland to go fuck.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That's what the delay is for. Did you hit that over there, Rich? On your side too? Oh my goodness. That's what the delay is for, people. I hope you got that, Rich. Well, you can hear it on YouTube. It's what goes out over the air that's different. I'll respond to that, but first let's take a break, all right? Live. We're live. All right, we'll be right back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Don't go anywhere.
You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great work and the incredible prices at Dr. Gupta's Brighton Dental. Richie the bus driver called Steve Kane on the air and told him about his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good morning. I have to talk about Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and it went backwards in my mouth. My front top tooth. I put it back into the socket. Felt like it was falling out. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later, and I said, what am I going to do? You know, the dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went to Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. I traveled 139 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat, each way. Okay, the man sat and worked on my tooth for 2 hours, put a pin in it, put it back in place. I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything I want now. And the
that's the AM.
This is what
1470s off the air.
I was getting on the bus to go to the reception, okay?
Probably because
in New York City. He knew I was in New York. The phone rings. Who do you think's on the line?
Dr. Gupta.
Right. He wants to see if everything is going okay and if I'm in any pain. The guy is unbelievably wonderful. I mean, thank you so much. I wouldn't have been able to eat. I wouldn't have been able to go. I would have looked like a pumpkin.
Everybody needs a great dentist, and of course, for you Steve Kane listeners, you have one, Dr. Gupta, and he's over there at Brighton Dental. He takes really good care of you. He's very conscientious. He's, you know, dentistry is an art when you stop and you think about it. And Dr. Gupta certainly is an artist, and we're so pleased to have him with us.
Yeah, I just wanted them to know if you need a dentist, and the guy is so good at what he does, he's so gentle, and I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is a show. And I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in, but right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want. Incredible.
Take Richie the bus driver's advice and go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. Call 954-922-4633. 4633.
Oh, you got it back now?
922-4633.
Not sure. Hey, all right, hold on.
You've heard the jingle and seen the commercials, and that's right. You will get the best night's sleep you've ever had with a My Pillow.
No, I had my mic off.
My Pillow yet?
turned
Right
my
now
mic
is
off,
the best
and I
time
did
to
it.
do it.
That's right, Brian. Hey guys, this is Brian's wife, Kathy, and this is the best time to get a My Pillow. They have amazing deals. Take advantage of them now.
Go to mypillow.com, click the radio listener link, and you will see all these great deals. Like the buy one My Pillow, get one for free. There's a BOGO offer right now on the Giza Dream Sheets. Buy one set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets and get the second set free.
You gotta love BOGO deals. They're the best. And you can take advantage of so many right now at mypillow.com.
There's a lot of other deals too. Again, go to mypillow.com, click on that radio listener link, and you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout to get these incredible deals. So go right now to mypillow.com, click the radio listener special. Make sure to use that promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout to take advantage of all of the great deals. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. Make sure to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, 1-800-716.
Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane Show. Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. Listen.
All righty. Welcome back. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. We're going to have Steve on the phone again today. Steve Kane. Steve, you there? Hang on. Okay. Me and the other 50,000 plus listeners on our 4 radio stations will just hang on. Well, yeah, I'm live on YouTube, yeah. They don't see you, though. They just see me. Well, how would they see you? There's no camera. You don't have my camera there in front of you, do you? All right, all right, all right.
There was this big announcement on Fox, definitive that they have a vaccine that's going to be ready in 2 months. It looks like actually they got more than one vaccine almost ready to go, and everybody was celebrating, and it looked like
I didn't see that story anywhere.
our greatest resource. I thought maybe somebody in the audience had heard an update. I mean, it was all over. It was big.
No, I'm looking at Fox on their website. I don't see anything about it. Do you really think, though, that the left don't want this to end? They want to keep this going, don't they?
Of course, it was. Of course, I mean, the thing is, once they announce they for sure have a vaccine, the election's over.
I'll make a little prediction on what they're going to do, okay? When they get the vaccine, see, I'm afraid it's going to be like the flu shot. Remember what they tell you about the flu shot? It's the best guess based on a collection of last year's viruses and all this stuff, you know. I'm going to guess that next year they're going to tell us that this vaccine was for the past strain and there's a new strain. I don't think the Democrats are ever going to let this go. I think shutdowns, lockdowns, and masks are like the new normal. Yeah.
He kept saying that congratulations to the Trump administration. It was like a major.
You know, Dr. Siegel, I see if you think this about Dr. Siegel. Because I see Dr. Siegel say different things on different shows. And it seems to me that Dr. Siegel, when I'm watching him, tends to say whatever he thinks the host of that show wants to be said. I just hear different tones from him on different shows depending on who's interviewing him.
I've heard him, one big thing with Dr. Siegel is he was on a show and was it Rush?
Tucker Carlson. Yeah.
Tucker. And he announced that his father had used what's that one that cure they have that Rush was talking about?
I have no idea. There's not enough pieces to put together the thought on that one.
The treatment that they have.
Oh, hydroxychloroquine.
This is Dr. Siegel, had announced that they used that to treat his father and it saved his.
Yeah.
And a couple hours later on Fox on a different show, when they asked him, what he thought would be effective or
Dr. Oz? Dr. Oz seems all right.
He didn't even mention that
and I haven't heard him mention it since. That was like 2 months ago. Yeah.
He wouldn't share that with the audience. But I don't know, anybody out there, give them the number, 1-888-GO-CANE, KANE1, the number 1, 1-888-GO-CANE1. If anybody else, maybe I hallucinated. Maybe.
You could have been hallucinating. You could have been. Now, for people out there, though, we made mention of this yesterday. We'll make the announcement, I guess, kind of official now, because I talked to the engineer yesterday. We are building a remote studio for Steve at his house in Cooper City. So we don't have it there yet. That's why Steve's on the phone. But you got to come in tomorrow. You got to come in tomorrow because we got to do some business stuff here. I may never see you again. It'll be like George and Neil when Neil was in Toronto. Steve Kane Show. Yeah, but we're building a studio at Steve's house, and that was part of the reason we came up here, because we've kind of had this in the back of our mind for a while. I've been talking to the engineer about doing this for about a year, or so about setting this up, and I'm glad we waited so long to do it, because a few years ago we were going to build a studio at your house, and the technology advances so much, it's much easier and cheaper to do it now than it was even 2 years ago. So anyway, we're building a studio for Steve at his house, but I'll still be here the days that Steve's not up here. All right, well, let's go to the phones. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, you're on the air.
Harvey from Pompano.
Hey, Harvey.
Hey, Harvey, how you
Yeah, I
doing?
heard that. No, good, Steve. I heard it too. I saw that. I don't remember which show it was on, but Siegel was on. He mentioned the company, it's brand. But he said all the other all around the world, they're working together on it. I'm like Brian. I'm a little skeptical to everything I hear.
Well,
And I
the
really
story
hope there is
was
a
the story that I heard on Fox last night. They had finished the first round of trials. Consisted of 45 patients and a
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one I've heard. That one I've heard. Yes. Yeah. 45 people? Are you going to take a medication and a treatment that they tested on 45 people?
figure out,
What do you got to lose?
well, my life only.
Well, when we get the studio built at your house, you can shelter in place forever. You don't have to leave. That's true. That's true. No, yeah. Well, I learned yesterday, and this was pretty shocking to me, about, talking about the kids going back to school, is that children don't transmit the disease to adults, which was shocked me. I haven't heard that one. Really?
Well, suckers,
Yeah, he's trout fishing.
yes. But, I don't know, so I'm sure somebody heard it. Maybe it was practically a celebration. Relating the Trump administration. This is a great thing for the Trump administration.
Yeah.
It's equivocal. It was.
You know what I wonder about the vaccine? I wonder if it's going to be mandated. I don't know if there's a health crisis. I mean, like when kids go to school, there's certain things they need. Steve Kane Show.
I don't think so.
Steve Kane Show. Hey,
My common sense tells me.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, let's take some more calls. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, Brian.
Yes, you called us.
Oh, okay. It's hard to tell if I'm the one that's on.
Steve Kane
I'm in
Show.
my car. I'm on the phone now.
sounds
It's
just
hard.
like
I
you.
called earlier. It was on the
Steve
Tucker-
Kane Show.
It was on that hour with Tucker Carlson. He wasn't on. He wasn't there. I think it was Kill Me.
Oh, okay.
They're on the first round of testing, and they say it could be out by Christmas. And I'm like you. I'm skeptical to everything I hear. But, I have to say, on the other hand, have you heard anything about Ruth Bader Ginsburg since yesterday?
Just that she was hospitalized with an infection, I heard.
She's on
Doesn't it sound very convenient that they would have her? They're trying to rally their base on all angles.
Oh, this is okay. So this is interesting. You're a real conspiracy. Is this Alex Jones online? So you think that Ruth Bader Ginsburg may not be ill, but they're trying to scare people to vote Democrat because they don't want Trump to get another Supreme Court pick?
No, that she's not going to make it another 4 years.
Oh my goodness. You question that? You question that? Okay.
Trouble. Now you got to vote, so we get that.
Well, she's had health problems for a long time. That's not new. I was telling this, we were talking about this the other day. When I saw her at the White House, Ginsburg, for the Kavanaugh swearing in, she didn't even look like she knew where she was.
far as a Supreme Court justice, I respect her. She has her opinion. She quietly states it. She doesn't come out crazy. That's fine by me. But the way they use her is just sort of like Joe Biden.
What do you make, but you're changing the subject, what do you make of the fact that that story which both of us saw last night in Tucker's blog was disappeared overnight? What do you make of that?
Personally, if they said it, I wouldn't doubt if it's true. It might have been one of those trips because, like I say, people think Trump's still the leader of The Apprentice.
Yeah.
A lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if everything somebody says is wrong, Brian, something's wrong with the...
Yeah, that's right. All right, hey, listen. All right, appreciate the call. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Yeah, Steve Kane, by the way,
Now, all right, good morning, you're on the radio.
I got the information for you. 45 healthy people were tested. They all had the antibodies that were 4 times stronger to knock out the virus. Now they're going to phase 2. 30,000 people are going to be injected with this stuff, and then they got to look at the results of that.
And did you see that in Tucker's blog last night on Fox?
Yeah, I saw that. Plus, it wasn't just that. I've seen it a couple times yesterday. And and the doctor.
They were unequivocal about it. It sounded like a
sounds very good.
Well, where the hell did the story go overnight? It's not anywhere on Fox.
Yeah, I understand that. Let me ask you. Can I ask you a question, Steve?
Of course.
Plus, you're pretty straight. And Brian, sometimes because I do change subjects, Brian gets upset and hangs up on me. And I would like to know Brian's answer. The police in New York City on the Brooklyn Bridge, when the police officer was hit over the head by the 2x4 in his head, you think that was a justified shoot if he would have shot and killed this guy?
Nothing is a justified shoot nowadays. They were afraid.
No, I know that, but why would you? Because Mark Levin said they should have shot this guy dead. I'm asking you because I know Brian would say no.
Well, what are you asking me? What would the consequences have been if he did shoot the guy?
Well, do you think that he should have shot the guy? He was being hit over the head, or one of the other police officers should have drawn a gun and shot him? He was hitting the cop over the head with a 2x4.
I don't think that. The atmosphere is such in New York now that I don't think cops can afford.
That's political, Steve. That's political. That's political.
It's a political situation.
The guy should have been shot dead. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Wait, if you were these days, okay, forgetting about what shoulda. If you were a police officer today, would you want to have to shoot anybody, especially someone that's not the same color as you?
If you were my partner and were getting hit over the head with a 2x4, I would have shot him.
Yeah, see, that the problem is cops are afraid they're going to go to jail.
But the right thing to do would be kill a guy.
I would imagine, being a police officer, go ahead, Steve.
When you say it's the right thing to do, it's not the right thing to do if he loses
Steve
his
Kane
job
Show.
and his pension. Because there's no way.
Well, so you let the partner
Steve
get
Kane
hit
Show,
over the head
hello.
with a 2x4 and possibly die?
I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would shoot him. It's just you can't do that in New York anymore. That's what this whole thing is about. So
you got a green light. You got a green light now.
Are you asking me should he have been able to shoot him, or are you asking me would I do it? I would not do it.
So what you're saying, what these criminals know, they can literally go out there right now with guns, 2x4s, and beat cops over the head, and there's no consequence.
Well, right now that's the fact.
That's disgusting, man.
That's why there's a rise in crime. They're fearless.
That is really bad, Brian. And by the way, Brian brought up Memorial. I want Brian to know Memorial Hospital is full of coronavirus in Hollywood. Full.
Yeah.
I know because we have a family member that's a physician there, and he's got protective clothing. He comes home. He's got 3 layers of this on. He said the hospital is full of coronavirus in Hollywood Central Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
on Johnson Street.
Yeah.
All elective surgery. This is the real deal in Broward.
If you go, now what I'm telling you is this story that the hospitals are overrun. Hospitals are always very busy and very overrun. And you talk about Memorial Hospital in Hollywood. I'm familiar with that hospital. Any day of the week, any day of the year prior to this, it's jam-packed there every day. They're always busy. So hospitals are not built to be empty buildings in case there's a global pandemic. They're businesses that are built to be pretty much full all the time. And they have it down to a science. I mean, you know, the average, if you get admitted to the hospital, how long forget about Corona, how long do they keep people in the hospital, Richie, typically?
In the hospital for no more than 4 months.
5 days, because insurance pays for 5 days, and everybody's out. So they know they have a whole rotation. Hospitals are always at 90%, 95% capacity. That's the nature of the hospital business.
And this is the last thing. I apologize for the ignorant caller that called you up that made that thing.
Oh my gosh, Richie. All right, listen, we got to take a break. Richie just doesn't know when to stop. All right, listen, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Suffer from foot pain that just won't go away? Do you have balance issues and are you afraid of falling? Are you in need of orthotics? Are you a diabetic and in need of diabetic shoes and custom inserts? These are just a few reasons why you would call the Soul Authority today. Whether it's in the comfort of your own home or coming to the office at one of our 2 convenient locations in Pembroke Pines or Tamarack, the Soul Authority can take care of all of your podiatric needs. If you're a Medicare recipient, call us today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. And you can also find us online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Call the Soul Authority today and start taking care of your feet.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We got Steve on the line. You know, Ace Hardware Deerfield, Beach Ace Hardware, great sponsors here on The Steve Kane Show. And I know that this is not fair to say, but I think Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware have changed my life in so many ways, Steve, because I've been redoing room by room each of my house, and I was told by the boss the other night, that's my wife, that this weekend don't make any plans because I've got to do some major work in my daughter's bedroom, and yeah, and each time I go to a new room, the project gets more and more difficult. You know, because my skill set's getting better, because I'm doing all these home improvements, and I'm actually going to be redoing the closet of my daughter's bedroom, and I'm very happy to see over here at Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, right now, 20% off of select Craftsman lithium-ion power tools, and I'm looking here at just what I need, which is a new lithium-ion powered drill, because I got to put up new closet doors and some shelving in there, and so I'll be over there probably tomorrow buying a drill, because I desperately need that drill, and 20% off, that's a great deal. Listen, there's lots of Ace Hardware stores around. Only 2 are advertising on the Steve Kane Show. That's Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, both listed at stevekaneshow.com. Ace Hardware Deerfield is just south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of US 1. And BJ's Hardware is at 232 Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea. And just great stores, great people. And they're very, very, very helpful. And I'm looking forward to getting that Craftsman drill, I must tell you, and get to work in my daughter's closets over the weekend. All right, yeah, so did you see Trump fired his campaign manager?
That's not a big story.
Oh, that's huge. The guy was screwing everything up. He was screwing everything up. He embarrassed Trump in Tulsa. Steve Kane Show.
That one Tulsa rally, what else has he screwed up?
Yeah. That's the big one. That's a big one. That's a big one. And I saw, this amazed me. You know the guy that worked for Ronald Reagan that's always on Fox? He was Ronald Reagan's campaign manager. I don't know his name. He's on Fox all the time. Do you know who he is? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I can't think of his name. If someone knows, let me know in the chat room. He said something a couple weeks ago about Brad Pascal that shocked me, that he has personally taken in his own pocket over $30 million of campaign money in fees, personally for himself. And the campaign, I couldn't believe he's taken a record amount of money from a campaign as a campaign manager. This is like unheard of in the industry. I think it's all over already. And the poll to look at are all the financial markets. I mean, if people thought, if the financial market people, they understand everything in a very smart way, and it's not political, it's about money. If they thought Joe Biden was going to win the election and Donald Trump was going to lose, I think we'd already see it start at the beginnings of a financial collapse if the polls were right. You know? So, I mean, look, when Trump won the election and he was president-elect, the market took off because the markets are all futures markets. And what's the financial climate going to be in the future? And if they thought that Biden was going to win, you'd start to see major sell-offs. You know, you'd see big sell-offs in all the, we're the number one, because of Donald Trump, we are the number one producer of oil in the world. I mean, that's... Yeah. Yeah. So if they thought Biden was going to win, the oil company stocks would be tanking.
Story one.
Into the air, I guess. They don't want people to know. The media don't want things to be resolved. They want people in a panic, so you keep watching.
I mean, if I wanted to, was concerned about an audience, that's the story I would go to. I think it's a major theme of the day.
That there's a vaccine? Yeah. Well, 45 people. That's not very many people. Yeah. That doesn't sound like a scientific study to me. 45 people. You got to have a larger sample size, don't you? Yeah. I don't expect a vaccine until after the election, because if a vaccine, because there's too many forces that have to go into the process of a vaccine, not just developing it, but distribution. And there's so many forces against Trump. If a vaccine is readily available to everyone, he gets the credit. So there's going to be so many people trying to stop it so that he doesn't have a big victory lap before the election on the vaccine.
It's timed right. That's what I said about Trump, but I don't try to second guess him anymore. Because too many times things will happen where he'll say something that I think I went
Yeah.
across them. And it turns out, in the end, as things play out, he knew things I didn't know, and the move that I thought was a mistake was right.
No, Trump is always right. Trump is always right. I mean, you know, this year is just been the worst year, 2020, right? I mean, and Trump is amazing. So they began the year, the vaccine, if everything goes as scheduled, will be ready by the end of the year. Is the thing. We began the year with the impeachment, and we're going to end the year with Trump curing the global pandemic. I cannot imagine them letting him end the year with the vaccine for the pandemic. I just can't see that happening.
Out of his control, they've got private companies in on it that have a financial investment. And there's not just one vaccine, there's 2 or 3
Yeah.
shown promise. This latest one is the most impressive of all. But I just hope the story.
You know, I wonder what the process will be to get it. Is it going to be free? Can everybody just go and get it? Are we going to have to pay for it? How's it going to, you know?
What do you think?
Well, they're not making it for free. I mean, they want to make money.
Yeah, but I mean, who pays? The government is reserved. The government is half partner. The new one comes out of England. And we are partnering with the British in this.
Oh, great. The people that got us into the war in Iraq with the WMDs. Wonderful.
Well, I'll take the help wherever I can get it.
Yeah. They got us into 2 world wars, the Iraq War. I mean, yeah, the British. No. Well, you know, the vaccine, they got to make money on it or there's no point in, you know, but they can sell it cheap because everyone's going to have to get it. They're going to make kids get it. You're not going to be able to go to school unless you have the vaccine. Right? You know?
You could do that.
You know, employers will require it. Maybe if you work in any type of service industry, they could require it. I think it'll be required. I don't think it'll be optional. Mm-mm.
Be optional. They can't tie you to a table and force you to, you know, to inject.
They can tell you can't work in the service industry unless you have the vaccine because you're dealing with people.
It would go into the courts, and who knows how it would.
But you know, a lot of conservatives are conspiracy people and are saying that they won't take a vaccine. I hear people in our chat room are even saying, a lot of conservatives say they will not take it. They won't, you know. Yeah.
Like they tied the person to the table and forced.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. It was some kind of obscene thing.
It was a cat.
Do that.
Okay. But you'll get the vaccine.
The reasons I should.
Steve Kane Show.
I'll have to see what it looks like when it comes out. I guess there's a.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen, we got to take our break for the top of the hour. It's 8 o'clock. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Steve, of course, here with us today. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be back. Third and final hour is up next.
0.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of 2 magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, each Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the sea. How many years have you owned this business?
I've been in the hardware business for over 40 years, Steve.
If I have a home project that I'm doing, there are so many around the house, that's the big thing today. What's the difference of my experience if I go to Ace Hardware as opposed to these major impersonal chain stores?
Oh, there's a huge difference.
basic difference is customer service. We're an old-time fashion hardware store. We have experienced people that are working our stores. Our employees are just top-notch. They're very experienced. They know their business. When you're doing a project, you can come into the store and you can get somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that will like to work with you, to find you the right project, the right pieces, the first time, so you can get in and out with the right material.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only 2 that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side of Federal, and of course the Beach Ace Hardware located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the Sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you. This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the Gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The gardens had caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton, dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888.
All right, third and final hour has begun. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, Steve on the line. 5 minutes after the hour, let's go back to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning. No. These people. I tell you. All right, welcome back, everyone. You know, I was reading this story, Steve, during the break that I don't know if you've seen this in the news. A man, it says here, Florida man pulls gun and makes death threats in mask argument at Walmart, and it was in Royal Palm Beach. Oh my gosh, a guy wasn't wearing a mask. He was pushing someone in a wheelchair. And I guess people were telling him to put his damn mask on, and he pulled a gun on him. Well, I saw his shirt, and he's a Republican, the guy that pulled it. Well, I guess he's got a gun. He's got a concealed weapons permit. He's got a gun. I guess you could assume he's a Republican. But it goes into this vaccine thing. A lot of conservatives are anti-mask people and anti-vaccine people. It's usually the liberals that are the anti-vaccine people. Scott Israel, they're saying in the local news, tested positive for coronavirus. Yeah, WPTV. Yeah, I don't know how he got it. I guess it says here, former Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel hospitalized with coronavirus. Ousted sheriff seeking re-election in August primary against appointed sheriff Greg Toney. Greg Toney, that was appointed by DeSantis, is a Democrat, so he's got to run in the primary against Scott Israel. And this is WPTV's website that I'm reading from. Okay, this is this is an interesting way to begin this story. The disgraced former sheriff of Broward County. I'm surprised. That's the. That seems to be editorial there. But anyway, the disgraced former sheriff of Broward County has been hospitalized after testing positive for coronavirus. Scott Israel is in a local area hospital for further evaluation after testing positive on Tuesday night. And he says, after experiencing symptoms over the past several days and at the urging of family and friends, I decided to take another test. This time it was positive. He says, like most of you, I took precautions, followed the advice of health experts, wore a mask in public, washed my hands regularly, and observed social distancing. Yet, despite this vigilance, I have contracted the virus. I don't know. The primary is August 18th, so I guess he won't be campaigning. He won't be able to campaign anymore. You think he's going to win the primary against the...
Very in group over there, Sheriff's Department, and Scott and his old friends are left, or whether they, reshuffled in the past year.
Well, I know that, if you live in South Florida, you know deputies. Everybody knows deputies with BSO. And all of my deputy friends, none of them have given me any opinion on Israel, which tells me they're afraid he's coming back. Yeah. I didn't even think about it this way. Why did DeSantis appoint a Democrat? I mean, what's that about? Why didn't he appoint a Republican? Yeah. Well, if Scott Israel wins, he wins. I don't live in Broward County anymore, so if they want to reelect him, let them reelect him. I mean, my goodness. I can't. There's a big... See, this is an interesting thing here because Broward County is an important county in Florida. Remember, on election night in 2016, Broward was the last county to report, and there's been a lot of talk of political corruption among vote counting in Broward County. And the person that's the supervisor of elections now, remember, DeSantis got rid of the corrupt one, appointed a Republican, and DeSantis's pick is the election supervisor, and they're a Republican. So this will be, the Democrat vote fraud machine will not be out in full effect like it normally is. Well, I'm not so sure Broward's anywhere near as Democrat as we think.
It used to be, right?
Well, yeah.
Still,
Yeah. I don't know. How often do you... It used to be to meet a conservative Jew or a conservative black person was like an unusual thing. And I think it's common now.
the whole area is liberal.
Steve Kane Show.
The hardcore, old establishment Democrats.
What's your name?
It used to be here 20 years ago when I first arrived in South Florida. They're gone now. There's no question.
Yeah.
Broward used to be a stronghold for the Democratic Party, and it's not that anymore.
No.
But I still think who is running? Is anyone running against W. Wasserman Schultz?
Not that I have heard of. I don't know. Does Joe Kaufman still run for that office year after year? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard his name in a while. I don't know if anyone's running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Good morning. You're on the radio. Yeah, you're on the air.
I'm a
Steve Kane Show.
veteran. My buddy's an Army veteran, and talking yesterday, the VA calls him and says, "Hey, you tested positive for COVID." He's like, "Oh, really?" It's like, that's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they've not had tests, and they've been told they've tested positive. How can you test positive or negative if you haven't had a test? Yeah. Well, like this thing in Orlando. See, what we're finding out is it's the health departments that are keeping track of the records, right? And this thing in Orlando, they moved the decimal point and turned 9 point something into 90 something. Now, why do you think they do that?
Create the hysteria to fit their.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it that's a lot of it, and a lot of it is money, because a lot of these they get money. They get money. Yeah.
Pneumonia and flu deaths being reported, or barely any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, listen. When it comes to the hospitals, they get $12,000 per admission, right off the book if it's COVID related. That's something that's been reported. But so far as the testing, because I've been tested 3 times. Every test has been negative at any lab test now of Boca. And when you go to these government places, all right, appreciate the call. We're getting some feedback there. But when you go to these government places, they have other motivations that are political, and you can't trust them. You can't trust their results. You can't trust what they do with them. And by the way, I want to tell everybody: any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs offer the lowest price on coronavirus testing in town, and you can get the results in 15 minutes. Which is very, very good. And Steve, some people I've been sending a lot of people over there. They've been telling me they go to work and they cough or sneeze, and their boss wants to send them home for 2 weeks, and they don't know what to do because you go to. I've been hearing people waiting as long as 2 weeks in some of these public testing facilities to get the results back, and you certainly don't want to wait 2 weeks. So you go to any lab test now of Boca, you go to any lab test now of Coral Springs, and you get the results in 15 minutes. You can go on your lunch break, right, or on the way to work, and you can take the results and show your boss, and boom, you're back at work, and you don't even miss a day. And if you're an employer and you need to get your employees tested, any lab test now of Boca, any lab test now of Coral Springs, they have the lowest price on coronavirus testing in South Florida. Any lab test now of Boca, their number 561-237-5009, 561-237-5009. They're in the Sandalwood Plaza where the Western Beef Shopping Center is, just south of Palmetto and north of Hillsborough. Any lab test now of Coral Springs, their number is 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. And they're on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. And make sure you mention you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show. All right, we'll break and be right back.
8.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The gardens had caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The gardens of Boca Raton dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for www.
All right, we are back. Are you with us, Steve? Oh, hold on, I got to do that. Are you with us, Steve? All right, well, let's check in with attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney. Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Barry, so what is new in the world of estate planning? You know, I saw a story today, and this is maybe about school teachers are en masse. They say they're redoing their wills before they go back into the new school year. And to me, that sounds like not a good idea, because wills, well, they can cause more trouble than they solve a lot of times, can't they?
It's a good idea to get our affairs in order and get our planning done. That part of it I agree with. Doing the wills, I mean, that's better than not doing anything, because at least the person or the teacher's wishes are known, and we don't have to resort to the rules of intestacy under the Florida statutes. However, for many people, a revocable living trust may be a better option, and that's why we do the free consultation, so we can go through those issues and see what fits best for each family. One of the things, given the times that we're in and what's going on and the spikes in the cases around the country and here in Florida, estate planning has become very, very important to a lot of families, and so we have continued throughout all this time since COVID has started. We offer the telephone consultations. We offer the Zoom video consultations. We are seeing people in our offices under very significant safety measures. People, when they come in, they have to, we take their temperature, everyone has to wash their hands, they have to wear gloves. We have plexiglass dividers in our conference rooms. The conference rooms and all the areas are constantly being disinfected, so we're taking extreme measures for anybody who does want to come in for a consultation in the office. And one thing that we have continued to do, that we are still offering the free healthcare surrogate and living will for any healthcare worker or first responder involved with the COVID. So we want to thank those people for all they do.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Listen, give attorney Barry Siegel's office a call. It's toll free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. Online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, we'll talk later in the week. All right, take care. You know, Steve, I'm looking at the Drudge Report, and it says here, I lost it. It says here, shock poll, Trump approval 36%. Do you believe that number? 36%. Come on. Well, they don't tell you. They don't tell you. Here's some of the questions, okay? This is Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac, all right? And here's the first question. On the handling of the crisis, 57% approve of Biden's handling of the crisis over Trump's. That's crazy. On the coronavirus response, Biden leads 59-35. On racial inequality, Biden leads 62-30. Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah. You know, people take that like it's a serious thing. Oh, some of the young black support from the Democrats. Also, oh, that's interesting. Also, Kanye's helping Trump by taking. Oh, I see. I can see that. Kanye's not stupid. He's a billionaire. He's a very smart guy. People think he's stupid, but he's not. He's very smart.
For Trump.
Yeah. Well, you know, what's going to happen, you know, all the polls are fake. I mean, come on. I mean, how can over 50% approve of Biden's handling of the crisis? What has he done to handle the crisis? Hide out? I mean, what's he done? He hasn't done anything. Yeah. You know, they had this thing. Did you hear about this Twitter hack yesterday? Okay, they hacked all the top liberals. They hacked Obama, they hacked Biden, all the top liberals. And did you see what they put when they hacked into these accounts? It was they had a link to click, and it said that if you click the link, whatever amount you donate, I will double in my donation, right? And it was. If you donate $1,000 in Bitcoin, I will donate $2,000 in Bitcoin. And they did it on all these liberal Twitter accounts. They didn't get the Trumps. I guess maybe the National Security Agency or something has his unhackable. But they immediately knew it was a hack when because it was Biden's who made the news first, because they know that these Democrats aren't going to be giving away their own money to anybody. But it was a pretty brutal hack, and and the people they targeted, Biden, Obama, all liberals. I didn't see one conservative name or President Trump's name mentioned in any of it. And there's all this talk from the media all the time of wanting to get Trump off of the Twitter, and his was the only one that didn't get hacked. So I don't know why they got a problem with it. They talk a lot on CNN about how his Twitter is a security risk, and if it's a security risk, why did everyone else get hacked but Trump's? No, nobody knows if anybody. I'm sure people clicked the link and donated. I am sure, and it was a Bitcoin link, so it was a big Bitcoin scam, and yeah. I haven't heard them say how many people were suckers to it. That's true. Yeah, well, all these polls, though, if they had a credible candidate, like if Governor Cuomo was running, who would be out there talking and campaigning and having events and doing interviews and things like this, the polls might be a little believable. But when you have Biden, who has been in the basement, he's incoherent, he hasn't been on TV or anywhere, it's not even credible that he's even close to Trump in the polls. So, I mean, why are they fixing them in a way that's so outrageously ridiculous? I mean, they should make it a little bit more realistic if they're going to fake them. Yeah. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Now, on The View yesterday, they were talking about President Trump torturing children. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're this was The View yesterday.
Our country do this to people coming here to seek refuge, to seek peace and a better life, and that's what I did the book, and that's what I explored in the book.
I certainly hope that Trump supporters will read your book. So experts have gone so far as to call what happened to these migrant children torture, and yet you believe that what's happening now at the border is actually worse. Tell us
Yeah.
what you think about that.
You're right, Joy. And you know, one thing I'll say about that is it's not my words. It's the American Academy of Pediatrics. It's Physicians for Human Rights, a Nobel Peace Prize winning organization that characterizes what the Trump administration did as a systematic campaign of torture of 5,400 children under the guise of an immigration policy. And these children will be left with lifelong trauma.
One of the most
Okay, I mean, they're really out of issues if they're rehashing this. But what President Trump did, all they did is people come across, they say, this is my kid. They just hold them until they can determine if it's really their child. And then they reunite them. So what he was doing was stopping child smuggling and sex trafficking too, because a lot of these kids were teenagers that were being sex trafficked in prostitution rings. No. Yeah, they're in big trouble. They're in huge trouble. Now, today for lunch, I'm doing takeout today from Wings Plus. And I know, I can smell those wings right now. I'm dying to have them. And, Wings Plus, the Sample Road location is reopened. They did some renovations that were planned a long time ago, and luckily for them, they ran during all of this business that we've been suffering through. And Wings Plus, the Sample Road location, is reopened for inside dining and outside dining. All social distancing guidelines are taking place inside and outside of Wings Plus. Masks are required to enter, and they have some great new fresh salads over there, I understand, which I want to try out. And also the boar's head sandwiches. If you've not had the boar's head sandwiches at Wings Plus, you don't know what you're missing. I go for that boar's head roast beef sandwich over there, and it is so overstuffed. And boar's head is the best, and it's so overstuffed. I don't know how they make money over there on these boar's head sandwiches, because they overstuff them with meat so much, but they're spectacular. The Sample Road location.
The best hamburgers.
Oh man, do they ever?
Spectacular.
Yeah, well today I'm going to get the wings platter though. I think I haven't had wings in a while. The hamburgers are out of this world, and everything is just wonderful over there, and everything's homemade at Wings Plus. When they say fresh salads, they're made fresh right there. You get the clam chowder, it's made right there fresh, nothing out of a can. The Sample Road location of Wings Plus, about a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road in Coral Springs. All right, we'll take our break and be right back.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just got a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost.
Yeah.
But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which,
Yes.
by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane
Yeah,
listeners.
okay,
I had two
hold on.
cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
You're stuck in your home and the dog days of summer are coming. It's already happening on the hot days in the late afternoon and early evenings. Your air conditioner is running more and more and may even run constantly, struggling to keep your home cool and hold the temperature that you have it set on. And in some homes, it can't even keep up, losing the battle. And the temperature in your house climbs and you're hot, humid, and uncomfortable. And to top it all off, your electric bill is about to double or even triple. Here comes summer. The cure is reflective and or blown insulation. Stop the heat gain and cut your electric bill up to 35% off. Act now and get the pandemic special, our off-season sale. Act now. Save 50% on reflective and or blown insulation and cut your electric bill up to 35%. Call Scott from cutmykilowatts.com at 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500. Cutmykilowatts.com. Put your house in the shade today.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for that.
All right, we are back. We got Steve Kane here and Richard Pearl from Simply Natural. Hey, Richard, how'd your radio show go yesterday at 11?
And he actually revolutionized part of it because he started the whole concept of oil of oregano and how important it is to fighting off different types of infections. And it turns out that the oil of oregano is incredible. They've actually done studies on coronavirus with it. And it knocks out the coronavirus in as little as 20 to 30 minutes. How to use it, but he also talked about the spray, how to spray it in the air, and it was just it's really an amazing. Positive test would be.
Mm-hmm. That's right, and when people test positive, they get tested multiple times until they're not, which is of course what people do, and that's okay, but they get counted if they get tested 10 times as 10 cases, not just one person, which is that's how they're doing it. That's right. They don't subtract them either from the numbers. That's correct. I mean, if they keep this up, we'll have more people positive than are on the earth. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, listen, Richard Pearl, his store is Simply Natural. It's located in the city of Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. They're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and you can give the store a call at 954-741-4045. 954-741-4045. All right, Richard Pearl, we will talk tomorrow. All right, take care. Take care. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I really love your show. And I just want to say this really quick. I like Richard Pearl.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He really is. I wish I could hear his radio.
Oh, you can if you listen on our radio stations on iHeartRadio. Search for us by WWNN. His Richard Pearl's radio show Saturday and Sunday at noon air there as well. Anyway, what's on your mind? What'd you call about?
I wanted to just let people out there know, the panic that has swept our nation is sad to watch. The mask wearing, I understand it to a point, but I don't. I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not yet to wear one. So I'm in a small town, Fountain Inn, and so it's a really beautiful little town. And we just we're freedom-loving people. But I don't discourage people from doing or not doing it. I just think it's up to the individual.
Well, wait a minute. For this thing with the mask, I understand people got a lot of opposition to the mask and everything, and it's kind of like become this liberty issue. But for the most part, if most people, if you are in a place where you have to wear a mask and you do, it's only for a few minutes, right? You run into the store, you run out, What's the big deal with that?
Just saying, honestly, a couple months ago,
Steve Kane
everybody
Show.
was free. And now all of a sudden, everybody has to wear a mask. After the flu.
So you consider not being able to wear a mask a loss of, being required to wear a mask a loss of your freedom. Okay, now Walmart nationwide, slow down. So right now, Walmart nationwide is requiring masks in all stores nationwide. But to go inside a retail store my whole life, no shirt, no shoes, no service. What's the difference between being required to wear shirt and shoes?
They're requiring.
Well, they require shirt and shoes, and they always have. Why is the mask? Okay, that's too much. I won't go in.
No, it's because I think, well, then why during flu season and different types of terrible diseases that we've been through in this nation?
Okay, why do you think Walmart requires a mask? Walmart, I'll tell you why. Do you know why? Why do you think Walmart's requiring it? No, not because they caved. It's because the purpose of the mask by Walmart is to make people that are customers at Walmart feel more comfortable. That's all. Most people in the country want to wear them and are uncomfortable around people that are not. And it's to make their customers more comfortable. Okay. Well, I will tell you, when I go around and I see people that get a little too close to me or don't have a mask on that I don't know, right, like strangers, I get a little uncomfortable these days.
I think it's strange to see a person in a mask. I think it's weird.
Okay.
I think, why are you wearing a mask? When you sit even a second in front of you, it's not going to touch anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Except when you breathe.
Okay.
On carbon monoxide.
Will you take the vaccine? See what I told you, Steve? That a lot of conservatives don't want to take the vaccine.
I'm saying, why would you if you don't know what's in it?
Okay. Well, I trust Trump. Okay, I trust Trump, and if Trump approves of it, I would take it. Sure.
Approves of it if you want to take it, not that you.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen. I appreciate the call. All right. Take care. Take care. All right. Let's go to Jim from New York. Hey, Jim.
Hey, good morning. I have to validate what Steve was saying about there was vaccine and we're in the late stages, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. No differently than what I mentioned yesterday about Russia has a
overnight.
vaccine that
It disappeared overnight. They went out with it.
overnight.
Yes. But when they came back in the morning, it was.
So why do you think that happened, Jim? Why are they covering up this story?
No, and I'm going to answer that. No different than the one in Russia from last weekend that they said they're actually the new news out of Russia is they're going to distribute 30
Yeah.
by August.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want anything positive to trend that will help Trump.
And Trump's why? Yeah. Yeah.
So in fear, just like the masks, like the masks make people feel like feel anxiety, and
Yeah.
So I sort of agree with the woman who just called. They are wanting people to be fearful. They want people to live on the edge right now. I got news for you. The day after the election, this is all going to be gone. All of it.
Hold on 1 second. Who made that decision? Excuse me. That when the Fox opened up this morning at 6 o'clock with the new morning theme, that story wouldn't be included in the day's news. Who made that decision?
I don't know. Probably
they don't have a bunch of Democrats.
The list that took over. Well, the list that took over after Ailes left. That's who. I mean, Fox is no longer watchable. I'd rather watch One American News.
So you think, okay, so Jim, you think it was a conscious decision not to run the story because they don't want good news on Fox about Trump?
Yes, I would agree with that, yes, because all the new Fox News polls show Biden ahead by double digits, and I'm sorry, I mean, I hate this.
There was I saw a story this morning that said a One American News poll showed Biden ahead. You know, this is the thing. This is the thing, okay? The polls, the story about the polls is, why are they showing this? And none of them are talking about that. See, they don't have to, we don't know really how they poll. We don't know if the pollster writes down what the person they're talking to says. You understand what I mean? We don't know. We don't know if they're really polling people. And that's the story. How can the poll, when you've got someone who is obviously suffering from some age-related dementia issues, who has not been campaigning in 6 months. You know, he did an interview yesterday that just a few seconds into it, they started asking about China and Russia, and they cut it off. Yeah, and, you know, so how can, so the Fox News stories, I would trust Fox if they said, how is it possible that these polls that we've paid for are giving us this result when he hasn't been campaigning, he's incoherent and all these things. But they're discussing them as if they're real. And that's upsetting.
One thing which you've alluded to dozens of times is the methodology. And the other thing is, okay, in the world of social media, you look at President Trump posting something. For instance, yesterday he posted something on Instagram, I forget what it was. Over 1 million likes in less than 24 hours. Things he posts on Twitter, hundreds of thousands of likes within 24 hours. I think that he's going to win in a landslide.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a huge landslide. But the poll, remember, the polls are always this way. You know, when John Kerry was running against Bush in 2004, the polls not only on election day showed him winning big, all the exit polls showed, and John Kerry took his staff out and told them what their jobs were going to be at the White House. That was on, the afternoon of the polls are always showing the Republican losing, always. Yeah.
Except, instead of, with Bush, he'd cower in the corner. Oh, please forgive me. Oh.
Well, you talk about the polls. The news use the polls as stories all the time. I have never seen them do a story on any of the news outlets showing viewers how polls are conducted, how they work, what the process is. They just give us the results all the time. They don't want you to know how they work.
No, I shouldn't say no. This coronavirus stuff is scaring the older folks who a lot of them are going to vote for Trump, but might say, well, wait a minute, this is a real thing, and Trump isn't taking it seriously. That's my only concern.
Yeah. All right, appreciate the call. We got to run for a break. We'll be back with the Gold Report. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We got Steve here with us. We'll be back right after this.
If you suffer from excruciating back pain or sciatica Pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74% of surgeries for back pain fail. But there is an end to your suffering.
You're breaking up a little bit there. Yeah, you're breaking up just a little.
Dr. Troy Lamaski.
A little bit, but you're breaking up.
Is my personal chiropractor.
Not too well.
The name sounds familiar, it should. He's
Okay,
the brother
all right.
of Dr. Janae Lamaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication. While he can help you with your back and neck
Yeah, I
pain,
lost
Dr.
you.
Troy also provides treatment for the hips, the shoulders, the knees. If you've been in a car accident, any type of injury,
listen,
or slip and fall, the pain won't go away. Well, you want to get back to your old self, you want to call Dr. Troy. His number is 954-463-3036. That's 954-463-3036.
Yep, I'll do it now.
DrTroyLamaski.com. Tell him that Steve Kane sent you.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire.
Oh, that's great.
Just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70
Steve Kane Show.
savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road.
Steve Kane Show.
Free mounting and balancing.
Gotcha.
And no
Yeah,
extra
gotcha. Hold on.
charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, here, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman with the Morning Gold Report. William Youngerman, good morning. Great. How are the metals looking? Oh, yeah. Well, you know, when it comes to the metals, nothing to ever worry about because gold's been money for 5,000 years, and I have an idea it will be in 5,000 more. Listen, give William Youngerman a call. His number, 1-800-327-5010. Online, williamyoungerman.com. And you can stop in his store. It's located in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, take care, take care. All right, you with us, Steve? Okay, okay. And if people that weren't listening earlier, we're actually, we talked to the engineer yesterday. We're going to be building a remote studio at Steve's house. So I think that's a good idea. It'll be nice. Would you have thought back in 1983 when you came to Miami that you would have a radio studio in your house? I know, it's crazy. I know, it's crazy. I know. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. But you know, all the that everything that is going on. You know, the polls are another scheme that they've got running. Right? It was the impeachment, the dossier. You know, the Democrats have nothing but schemes to try to trick people into not supporting Donald Trump, as opposed to having issues in candidates. Yeah, but it's worse now. You know, it's worse now because, yeah. I mean, if they had any chance of winning, would they have Biden? Wouldn't they have somebody that was coherent? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Well, when you say he can't win, you mean he can't win the election against Trump, right? But could any Democrat right now? Yeah. Well, usually, you know, Biden is one of those sacrifice candidates. Like in '96, we had Bob Dole. You know, so you know, the party's always, you know, or when the Democrats, they had Mondale. So there's always these old timers whose careers are over. They are not electable, and nobody that has a future wants to run in a losing election. So I still say that Biden gets the nomination. There's no one else that's a credible person that would want to take it to lose to Trump.
You know, the one that I always worried about is Michelle. I know she doesn't win, but if things get desperate enough, who knows what they might talk her into. She had a better chance than Biden.
She does. That one. People talk about Michelle Obama. I say no to that one because they're winners. They've got 2 terms. She doesn't want to end her career as a loser. Michelle Obama. Her husband was president 2 times. If no one can beat Trump, she would lose. Why would she want to end her career as a loser? Yeah. You're the only one that can do it. You're our only hope. Yeah. There is no one else. There is no... But you know what? It's been that way. In '96, when we had Bob Dole, Bill Clinton was going to be reelected in a landslide, and everybody knew it. You know, even in '08 with John McCain, he was a sacrifice candidate because, you know, Obama was seen as, you know, first black nominee. No one could beat him. So it was obvious, you know, so there's always sacrifice. He's another sacrifice candidate. No one credible ones. Now, today, after the show, I'm heading over to Champagne Automotive, our newest sponsor here on the Steve Kane Show. And, you know, oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, Champagne Automotive, where they will never do a repair on your vehicle that your car does not need. I didn't realize, Steve, how much I've neglected maintenance on my vehicles because I've been so afraid to go to the auto mechanic before we knew Champagne Automotive Repair. Because, I mean, you assume that when you go to a mechanic, you're gonna, you know, get ripped off, and I've neglected so much. And I'm taking my daughter's car in today to get some work done at Champagne Automotive Repair. And they do spectacular work. They come very highly recommended. They also they do everything from oil changes to transmissions. They do it all. They even do some body work. They did incredible body work to your van. I could not, when we picked up your van, I could not believe how new it looked. I mean, they matched up the paint perfectly to the rest of the vehicle, to the part that they repaired. They put on a new bumper in the front, which is a big thing on that van, and it looks like it came right out of the factory. I did not get a before picture on your van. I know. I guess we were so concerned that it had all the body damage that we didn't get the before. But it was, the job they did was spectacular. They do some body work over there, so if you need body work as well, you can give them a call. But here's the thing, okay? We've had listeners that have driven 1 hour each way to Champaign Automotive Repair because you can trust them. Give them a call, all right? Their number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101. Champaign Automotive Repair, they will never do a repair on your vehicle that your vehicle does not need. And I don't think I've ever heard an auto repair shop make that claim, Steve. No. Yes. Yeah. Was there ever a time in New York, other than today, that it was so dangerous to walk through all of this? And there's been crime waves in New York, but in the past crime waves, weren't they kind of isolated to certain parts of the city?
In the Dixon days, when I was actually living for a year in New York, when I was at ABC, and it was more than violence. It was dirt. And,
yeah.
And the city is going to hell in a handbasket. There had a lot of violence. And then they brought Giuliani in, and Giuliani turned the whole...
Well, you know, de Blasio worked for Dinkins. De Blasio was on Dinkins' staff when he was mayor. Or maybe he's just into nostalgia and he wants to remember the good old days of the Dinkins era. But, you know, I notice if you read the New York papers, and you guys should read the New York Post, you know, in particular, it's interesting that blacks in New York are calling on the police to bring back the ununiformed division, you know, the plainclothes division, you know.
Situation. And they created that when they removed the special crime. His major job was getting guns off the street.
Yeah, well, you know, the importance of the plain clothes is they can walk into a group and no one knows it's cops coming until it's too late. If they got a uniform on, the bad guys, they're out of there. Or they dump whatever they have on them. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, it's a beginning. It's a beginning. But listen, we are all out of time, so we'll say goodbye. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. You want to have the last word? You want to have the last word, Steve? That's right. You said it so casually. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 a.m. Take care.
Free FM 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
All right, guys. Take care. I'll see you later, all right? Bye-bye.